welcome back, friends, to Visions Veiled and Violent. Last episode, we followed our merry band of young Carnivale folk as they fended off a mad bear threatening a carriage of innocent civilians. While the spellcasters tricked the beast into chasing an illusory vision off into the woods, my character, the sarcastic rogue Luthander, took credit for saving the life of a local noblewoman's child, earning the town's favour. Our group then ventured into the woods to find what might have provoked the bear's attack, only to discover the wreckage of a moonshine operation with signs of sinister ties to the local thieves' guild. Among the ruins, we discovered a crude treasure map. Hoping to find riches before the onset of winter, our band ventured forth to follow the trail, only to be interrupted as a local townie demanded our friend Jericho as his prize for winning the Carnivale wrestling match. With that, back to the show.
When last we left off with the zatis of the Blue Veil troop, they had rescued heroically a young noble boy from being attacked by a strange drunken bear by using their subterfuge and guile to trick it in a way to totally disarm the combat encounter that had been lovingly crafted by Gooey Cube Game Company. But instead, after being rewarded for their bravery, they were able to follow down the trail left by the bear, chasing after the mischievous young tot Vezi, to find a mysterious shack that looked like it was being used by moonshiners, bearing the symbol of a sinister-looking local crime syndicate. Upon the completion of their investigation, they found a map leading to some other potentially valuable drop site at an old well marked by the smugglers. When they returned, though, to the Carnival, they found that one of the local toughs who'd entered the wrestling competition was quite belligerent that he was not receiving the prize he had hoped for upon besting some of the local Hanataz champions, and that it seemed that he would only be consoled by the hand of Jericho. So with that, we pick up the scene with the young Zatis as they see this large, surly-looking, mashed-in-face local man who's bested several other wrestlers in the field, now shouting loudly that someone bring him the purple woman.
I want to break it! Please?
I don't know if we need to break it quite yet. Honestly, I don't really know what Jericho's feelings are on this matter.
Jericho, shrugs. She, sidles up to this fellow, gives him, a kind of a up and down glance.
He returns the glance with a glimmer of some hopeful feeling in his dull, bloodshot eyes.
I just give everybody else the thumbs up.
The man extends his hands in a symbol of victory, shouting as loudly as he can across all the assembled tents, looking like little pieces of candy dotted out along this frosty field. Ha! That's right, Shazat. Nevermore. Far stronger than anyone the Hanataz can throw my way. Little Vezi perks up and says, "Oh, that's not true. I know Adowole is way tougher than you."
I like you now. I liked you before, but I really like you now. Adowole will take heavy steps as he walks up. I am quite sure of my strength.
So the big man clasps his hands together and loudly pops his knuckles one by one as he gives you a gnarled, gap-toothed sneer. That's so, Shazat?
No, my name's Adowole. I don't know who Shazat is, but...
The Shazat is a common slur for the Hanataz.
I still don't know what it means.
Entirely fair.
I didn't know that. It's good.
Jericho's gonna gasp and then reach in her bag and start eating nuts and berries. Just
trail mix, you had stuff back there.
Time to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so the local tough angles back, his big bulky muscles rippling as he gets up in the Irish boxer stance. All right, Shazat, let's dance.
Before this all goes down, Adowole will look at Borag and kind of as a look of it, like questioning for approval to absolutely pummel this man.
So Borag's actually on the other corner of the wrestling field, wrestling 3 other dudes for money.
Before Adowole starts pummeling this dude, Moore's gonna roll her eyes at this whole show and walk over to Adowole and put her hand on his shoulder, and just say,
Can you reach that high?
maybe your lower arm. Don't embarrass us. And I'm gonna cast guidance on you.
Oh, I feel good and tingly. Let's dance.
So as Moore reaches up to put her hand on Adowole's shoulder, she briefly feels a hand on her shoulder.
I will tentatively look behind me.
There's nothing there.
This is going really well.
Moore just kind of rolls her shoulders back and okay. And she's gonna just not even acknowledge that and just go find a seat next to maybe Jericho and just, without even asking, just reach into the bag of trail mix that you now have and just start munching on it.
Oh, I very, very much so proffered them willingly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Adowole is going to start the show.
And just before, Nevitz just runs up, kind of looks for you to come down, and you have to bend way down for him to whisper in your ear. Hospital,
Yes.
not morgue. Hospital, not morgue. You can do this.
Hospital, not morgue. Okay.
As Adowole sidles up to the ring, little Vezi skips over to the ringside and does jazz fingers with her hands to the crowd, says, I was raised by the camp seer, Mother Selvenza, and I've seen that after a great battle, this local man might actually defeat the Hanataz champion, but I'm willing to wager a silva that Adowole is going to win anyway. You see the locals look around, look to her, and start loudly tossing silver chips over towards the person taking bets in the corner of the ring.
I'm gonna do a kind of pastiche voice where it's I use it's embarrass him, and I keep eating my nuts.
Adowole, knowing that's from Jericho, from the absolute difference in voices, was like, okay, I'm going to smash your face in.
All right then. So, Adowole, it is that time to roll initiative.
Oh, that's cool.
This is first initiative roll.
This is the first initiative roll.
Yeah.
18.
18. Whew.
There we go.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, all right, let's see what we get here. And the local tough gets 17. You beat him.
Yes. Adowole is going to charge at the local big guy and grab his face with his right hand, put his right foot behind him, and try to throw him to the ground with one arm while tripping him with his leg.
Why don't you just do a leg sweep to smash him down in the dirt of the wrestling pit?
Yes.
That sounds pretty slick. Make an athletics check on that.
Oh boy, 21.
Plus guidance.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sugar snap. 24.
For posterity's sake, the GM reminding a player of guidance for once.
24 total.
A 24 total. Let's see if he has any chance of resisting that. And the answer is no. So, to the gasp of the crowd, particularly the horrified citizens of Nevermore who just chipped in Silva to match the bet with young Nezzy, who watches this man built like a brick wall goes face first, wham, prone into the dirt in front of you.
Adowole will stand up and put a heavy foot on his back and just give the biggest.
I make the same noise from the audience.
Make it.
Oh yeah.
Excellent work. And so,
While this is all happening, just if it's relevant, Nate, I'm watching everything except them fighting. I'm as best I can. Luthander would be worried about sneakiness elsewhere or things that might be creeping up on us.
okay. Okay. No, that's as a matter of fact. So, Luthander, make a perception check while you do that.
Is it our first one?
What you got, Phil? What's
Natural one.
There it is.
That's
Oh,
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Natural one. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. So that I trip over face first into some mud. And, yeah.
So
it's an 8 with my modifier.
8. I mean, hey, that's, every little bit counts.
Thanks. Yeah.
While the crowd is totally fixated on the fight going on, Luthander is looking around. You are so fixated, as a matter of fact, on trying to find anything around you that might be unusual or something that's out of place or a threat lingering somewhere, that you happened to totally not notice that there is a aquamarine-skinned woman wearing an eye patch and a pirate hat standing right behind you.
That's easy to miss. I mean, it's like a camouflage outfit. Yeah, I'm looking at that image now, Nate. That's very noticeable outfit.
But not noticeable because you missed the forest for the trees, or in this case, the blue-skinned mer woman pirate with one eye and a gold chain coming out of her nose just happened to slip past your gaze there, Luthander. But
can I just say my defense to the group? Anyone would have missed that. I mean, she just blends in perfectly.
Especially with the staff lean.
Another day at the carnival.
Right.
Another day.
Adowole is going to do a little monologue here.
Well, as Adowole's monologue, this guy's is trying to throw you off.
Oh, God.
He rolled
I got to make a
10.
roll for that, eh? 16.
16. So he struggles, thrashing, cursing loudly, saying things that you can't say in a family-friendly podcast about your people and your parentage. But he is unable to get your boot off of his back.
I am Adowole, Stormbringer, raised in the mountains by storm giants themselves. None can match my might, such as this man on the ground beneath my boot.
He's just the man is just now sobbing into the dirt with the embarrassment at being totally clowned by Adowole as the locals cast some very ill-favored looks in the direction of you Zatis in general. Young Vezi in particular, as she scoops up a handful of silver coins and begins skipping merrily over towards the confectionery wagon where they're selling all the candy.
A little bugger. Bless her heart.
Jericho, do you still have any interest in a date with this fellow later on, or do you not date failures?
Jericho actually looks pretty concerned. Maybe they feel bad for him. Is he still being ground under a boot right now?
That depends on Adowole.
Are you still standing on him?
Firmly.
I'm gonna like hop. Can I hop into the ring?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull the thing up and just like kind of like kneel down next to this fella and pat him on the head and be like, "You tried."
he cranes his neck up. He's got his right cheek is smeared with dirt. Little line cut through it with his tear as he blubbers, "Thank you."
I'm gonna give him my
You already gave him a scarf last week.
I'm gonna give him one of my little frilly things. I've got a bunch of these actually. So I'm gonna yank it off and just kind of like set it on his head.
So you drape this frilled cuff over his head as this man weeps all the harder. Humiliation and a wellspring of emotion that he's buried under years of emotional scar tissue from toxic masculinity. The whole crowd is in a stunned silence, not quite knowing how to process the scene.
All right. Adowole is going to take his boot off of him and attempt to lift him up. Also, just lift him up and put him on his feet. And he lifts him up, sets him on his feet. You may not be stronger than I, for I fear none are, but you have your merits. When we come around here, this area again, I trust you will be stronger next time. I look forward to your challenge.
The man sniffles and nods, and next time I'm just gonna kick you straight in the balls.
Oh, I got balls of steel.
Jericho's gonna take his hand and like just be like, just kind of gesture, like to kind of lead him off the ring. Just like, come on, buddy, get out of
Lumbers
the
slowly
limelight.
over. Yeah.
Adowole is going to look at Nevitz, wherever Nevitz is. He's like, I did it. I did it.
As you celebrate with Nevitz, see that coming up from the other corner of the wrestling pit, Borag has just thrown off the other local challengers who are trying to take him 3 at a time, sauntering over to where Adowole and Nevitz are, having caught the last bit of that exchange, and see him cross his big, meaty gray arms that are tough like rhinoceros skin, and he nods in approval. Young Zatis do well. Borag Vegla, proud, friend us today. This what I mean when say, you chosen for a reason to protect group.
Borag, I did my first wrestle. I won.
Yes. So, next challenger, fetch higher price. Remember, strength come, many for. Anataz, need all of them. He gives a look down to Nevitz, hoping to impart a message of wisdom to the young fellow.
Nevitz nods and he looks up. Dr. Borag, in addition to strength, you also say opportunity comes in many forms. There's an opportunity, perchance, for our group to pick up a drop site from some nefarious thieves guilds locally before we depart with the Carnival. Would it be all right if we forego our security responsibilities around the Carnival to pursue this and try to bring the fortunes back to Blue Veil Troop before we depart?
Borag give a little chuckle and show you the best smile he can manage with his big square face and his tusks, and he says, yes, even Zatis need chance to have fun and adventure. Borag, keep eye out, go do errand, but make sure come back before too many bells. Crowd only going to get bigger before we let final curtain fall on performance, and that is when we will need you the most.
And Nevitz looks to the group to see if we're all kind of in alignment that we want to jog off and complete this potential payoff.
As Nevitz turns to look, you can see Luthander there with this strange blue pirate woman there, a full head shorter than Luthander. She looks up at him with a little sniff, like she's sizing him up. Says, "Are there you? You look like you're reliable and a bit dull. Here, I have a task for you." She takes out of her cloak with this big flourish this wrapped cloth bundle that's tightly wound with this corded string. And she presses it into Luthander's stomach and says, "Hold on to this. Don't lose it. Don't break it. Don't open it. It's here when I get back. I got a reward for you."
Luthander says, "Well, you're gonna have to tell me more than that. I can't just accept a package. I don't know what's in it."
She says, "Aye, sure you can." As she tosses the package at your face, like you have to either catch it or let it hit you in the face, and then turns on her heel and begins walking into the crowd.
So, my options are literally to catch it or let it hit me in the face.
You could try to dodge it, I suppose, but you've got a package come at your face, Luthander.
I mean, I am extremely alert, as noted by me, my lookout skills.
Could Jericho be standing like right behind him and like catch it when he jumps out of the way?
Jericho can, sure.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, one of us is clearly catching it. We got a package. What do we want to do with it?
What, Luthander, so you're going for the dodge option?
I think he would catch it. He wouldn't dodge it. I don't know if he'd be happy to do what's being asked.
Luthander, as you grab this wrapped cloth package, it's surprisingly heavy, and even though it's tightly bound, you can hear something metal on metal rubbing inside of it with that distinctive metal grinding sound of things that are solid rubbing against each other.
That's great. And I might ask the halfling what we should do. Do we unwrap it or no? That's a joke.
Well, so the Halflings player has a question for Nate. So, I mean, I don't want to play into Roma/Tinkerer/Traveler stereotypes. How often and how common is it for the Hanataz to be effectively pulled into the gray economy? Like, is this kind of a normal thing? Like, here's the job, just do it mafia style? Or are we really children who are freaking out because some stranger just gave a package to my friend and said, hold on to this. Reward will come your way.
Excellent cultural question. For context, there is a a local unlicensed tattoo artist working in the Carnival because he can do it in the Carnival with the Hanatas, but it would be illegal for him to do it in the town walls of Nevermore.
Luthander, we have the package already. I think the only question is whether or not we are going to try to open it and reseal it without the blue-skinned woman knowing. I think we know we're not going to pass up on the reward now that we already have the criminal activity foisted upon us.
Yeah, I agree. Do we open it?
I think we should combine this with our movement to the drop site. Maybe when we are in a darker alley where people can't see us, we can look into opening this package.
Excellent idea.
Break it open like an egg. It looks like an egg. Could I?
Not you, Adowole.
We might
Not
just
you, Adowole.
hold off on breaking it. So how big is this package? Is it big enough is it small enough that we can put it in a pack?
It's large enough that it would take up a hand to carry it if you wanted to keep it out, but you could put it in a traveler's pack without too much difficulty. It's heavy, but it's not enough to weigh you down significantly.
I'll put it in my bag. I'll be able to carry it, no problem. I'll keep it safe.
I think our investigation should be at a different location.
I
But
agree.
again, if something goes sideways, they're going to blame us regardless.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume that because we're kind of scattered at this point, I don't know how far away Adowole is.
You're all still within visual distance of each other.
Yeah. So I just shove it in my backpack and close the pack.
Going back to one of the key characteristics of Nevitz, like when his family is in distress, he does tend to notice. Does Moore still have a freaked out look about people who she can't see and don't exist tapping her on the shoulder, or is she over it at this point, or is she still obsessing?
Moore is still seated where her and Jericho were earlier when the fight took place, and she's just kind of sitting with her staff in her hands in front of her, trying to look casual, like, oh, everything's fine. But she is very jumpy, any loud noises. She's immediately looking over her shoulder and scanning the crowds and trying not to make eye contact. So she's definitely jumpy and not doing a great job at hiding how panicked she is.
I have a question here
Yes.
for Nate. Does Adowole get another challenger, or is he is he done for the day at the wrestling then?
No signs of anyone eager to step up to the plate.
Well,
After you threw the guy in the dirt and
That's
stood
a
on his
shock.
back and made him cry.
Images
about-
of Achilles. Are you not entertained?
Yes, for real. So, speaking of this fellow, so I've got his hand in my hand, and I'm patting his hand, and then I put my hand out, and this red kind of glowing text starts to form on my hand, and be like, "That's my favorite cuff. I feel strong when I wear it. Maybe it'll make you strong too."
So the man sniff as he wipes his nose with the back of his wrist, along to gather himself, and then he very daintily takes the cuff and slips it over his left wrist.
Nevitz leans over to Moore, and he doesn't like being an asshole, but sometimes it comes out anyways. No way can that guy read.
I'm also questioning this whole arrangement, but I don't know. I mean, who's to say? What could happen? Love? Is it love? Who's to say? Good weather we're having, right?
Speaking of what could happen, Moore, give me a perception check.
Damn it. I mean, darn it. 9. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Kendra, I'm sending you physical dice.
I have them. I need to find them.
So Moore is currently preoccupied with a little catty commentary with Nevitz. And so it's not until you hear Bezzy's loud voice shouting, "Oh, yes, Moore, she's right over there," that you notice that there is a familiar woman in a harlequin garb who seems to be making a beeline straight towards you, Moore. You notice it is Taline, one of the siblings who works in the tent of Jest as a contortionist.
Yeah, hey, Taline. I'll kind of just scoot closer to Nevitz because I really don't want to talk to anybody right now, but she knows I'm here.
Jericho waves like happily, very excited. Me and Taline are besties.
As Taline sees Jericho waving, she gives a smile and then trips, falls forward, does a cartwheel, and then pops back up on her heels with a big grin on her face.
I like give this like silent chuckle. Like you can't hear me, but I'm laughing, but obviously,
Luthander just says, that looks a lot like what I did with that kid.
Oh my
Smooth.
God.
As Taline sachets over to where Moore is sitting with Nevitz, puts a hand on her hip as the bells on her jester's hat jingle. Moore, I heard the most diabolical thing about you.
Do tell.
Gossip.
A little bird told me you sight.
More spits on the ground. No, I heard it was my friend who had the site, actually. One of the acrobats. You know them.
Girlfriend.
You mean
The
me?
girlfriend. They're new. Actually, they just joined
Just joined the show?
this morning. You haven't met them yet? You're really out of the loop. You need to work on your social skills, Taline.
That sounds incredibly made up to me.
Taline, it's been said many times, you are not good at welcoming new people into the troop. It's just fair. It doesn't take away
talking
from your
about
other
that.
talents.
Yeah. You're very unhospitable. We've said that many of times.
So, where is this friend of yours with the site?
Oh, I could go get her and introduce you.
Would be wonderful. How about I come with you?
Oh my god, she's over there! More points to behind Taline.
Make a deception check.
Can I assist?
Boy.
How would you assist this?
15.
Taline, we don't have time for more to lead you around right now. We're on mission from Borog. We must depart, but you can see where she's pointing.
So she has to look over her shoulder,
As soon as she turns her head, I get up and I dart.
bolting for it. Okay.
I bolt.
Oh God, she saw it. We have to go. I'm sorry, Taline. And Nevitz just starts running. Adowole!
Adowole jogs over because he's able to keep up with a slight jog.
Luthander just shrugs and was like, and goes like, yep,
Also books it. Got
Straight
four
after.
people just running off in the woods,
yep.
leaving Jericho.
Live in Jericho. With a man who probably can't read.
As soon as we get far enough away from other people and from the carnival, I turn to everybody out of breath a little bit because I'm not the most athletic one. Okay, all right, listen. This site business stays between us. No one, I don't have the site, first of all. It's my friend, the acrobat, who's new to the troupe, okay?
His girlfriend.
The girlfriend, you're right. Second of all, hypothetically, in some twisted world, if I did have the site, I would close my eyes. So, it's not me, okay? Just clarifying that.
Well, we pointed out a couple hours ago that you did have it.
Nope. Well, you were wrong.
I don't think so, but
Definitely wrong.
I'll stay quiet for now.
Oh, Luthander's leaning on his staff, looking as relaxed as he can whilst being slightly out of breath as well, and just says, so this sight you don't have, is it scary when you don't have it?
Let's put it this way. I have enough going on, and yesterday I had to deal with all of that. Today, I just thought, normal day, just trying to survive. Then things started happening that I would like to be unhappening. So I am more concerned today than I was yesterday. Does that answer your question?
That makes me highly concerned about the things that have happened that are related to the site you don't have.
More, I don't think Luthander or Adowole or Jericho, as he looks back, as I don't know if this flirtation is still ongoing, are going to press you on the issue. I will say we are going to be your friends regardless, but I think the best way for us to get over gossip about new abilities that people may or may not have is to fill people with other gossip. If we can find this drop and get some modicum of treasures that the troop can talk about for the next 24 hours, I think all talk of other rumors might dissipate. That said, if you do want to talk about stuff or not, or talk about stuff that your friends' girlfriends are going through, we're always available.
I give him some finger guns and a little heart appears above my head.
Thank you, Nevitz. So we have 24 hours for me to figure out how to deal with this so that I don't have it anymore or fake my own death. So the drops you were thinking of, we're going after that?
I think there's money or something of value that we can find before we strike camp tomorrow and move away from Nevermore, evermore.
Perfect.
And with that, the Zatis, following the old map that they found the shack, begin the trek through the woods that have been denuded of their leaves by the oncoming winter towards this mysterious drop site. As the group of Zatis navigates through the woods, I want everyone to tell me where you are in order of movement, whether you're spread out in a line, kind of like in a gaggle, if one of you is in front leading the trail, and then what you're talking. You have about a mile or so in these woods to go following the outline of the map. So what are you talking about as your boots are crunching through these dry, rotten leaves, and you got those little snowflakes wafting down through the bare branches?
Well, whatever we're talking about, Adowole is in front.
Can I ask a question of the group and out of character? Do you think we'd have our act together enough? Because we've just been kind of roaming around doing random stuff.
Whatever the question is, no, our act's not together, but please send the question.
Well, I'm trying to, are we actually getting organized? Do you think we've had enough surprises yet to get organized as far as who's in the lead? Or are we just roaming into the woods, wandering?
I think yes and no. So I think there's an emotional discussion and Adowole and Nevitz have had this pretty regularly. Like, Adowole has a protector thing that he does for Nevitz, and he thinks he's stealthy, but he's not. And so Nevitz is like, I need you to stay back and protect us so no one attacks us from the rear, and I'm going to go forward with Luthander, and we're going to stealth ahead to make sure that when you do attack, you get full surprise.
Oh. Okay, I'll be the best rear guard ever.
So this is kind of what I'm wondering. Like, we'll stealth ahead, assuming I got my roll of 1 out of the way.
Why you got to do? What? Don't make me knock on wood every time. But yeah, okay.
All right. So we're taking point.
So Nevitz wants to be up front with Luthander. Does anyone else want to be up front, in the middle, in the back?
Moore secretly hopes that we get lost in the woods. We never have to deal with the site or anything else, so she's just hanging out in the middle.
You are the best 16-year-old role player.
Seriously, so good.
All right.
I'm at the back.
Okay. So I feel it's Luthander and Nevitz up front. Moore's going to be in the middle, wishing the world away until she's 30, and Jericho and Adowole at the rear.
Are we following a path, Nate? Or is it
we have a map, right, Nate?
Yeah, you have a map. So you have the map that you found from the dead smuggler. Because of the map, you're able to see where it looks like through broken branches and a little bit of light foot traffic, there is a clear winding pathway through the woods that once you know what you're looking for, you are able to follow without difficulty.
I just want to point out here that I don't know if we're anywhere near where the bear ran off to, but Adowole, since we're in the woods, is keeping an eye out for that bear, or any bears per se. He really wants to wrestle a bear.
And I mean, so Nevitz will whisper to Luther as we're up front. Luthander, your eyes are better than mine. Keep a lookout if we do see anybody, if they might have that tattoo of the skull with the barley.
Luthander says nothing slips or gets past my attention unless it's a blue mermaid pirate. They're very, very sneaky, but other than that, nothing.
And Nate, when we know somewhere along the halfway point to what we think the drop location is, if there's a secluded area, Nevitz would like to intimate for Luthander to pull aside so we might inspect the package, make decisions on whether or not we want to open it or not. At least have that discussion.
Like it.
And like pull the party in.
All right, and so you don't hear anything disturbing. You can hear the shouts and cheers and all the people enjoying the carnival, quite blissfully unaware of your presence. And the only thing you hear from the south, other than the wind going through the bare branches of the trees, is the occasional little call out of birdsong. There.
Does it sound like actual birdsong, or?
So, Luthander, since you ask, make a perception check.
We
I would
trust
also
nothing.
like to say I have my speak with animals still, because, yeah. So if they're talking shit, I know.
24.
24. All right. So, so as you are looking out, because you hear all these strange sounds in the woods, and of course it's winter, and the forest is all quiet and dead with the grass fallow, and so it's a little bit eerie. So as you keep an eye out for any signs of something unusual, you just so happen to spot up in the very tip top of one of the still green pine trees, you spot a rare red-crowned hawk, big, beautiful bird that is well known as a hunting raptor across West Verdestia.
I'm gonna make a hawk noise.
Let's say, make that hawk noise. So the hawk turns to you with its gleaming red eyes and replies back.
Nevitz looks
I look to
more.
the animal
more.
speaker. Yeah, I was gonna. What am I saying? What's going on?
Yeah, okay. I approach to the front of the group to listen to this bird, what it has to say.
So you're casting your speak with animal spell? Could you describe that for us, please, more?
I ritual cast, because it's the same day as the bear, right? Today's...
Yep.
Yes, same day.
Yes, so...
Does it last that long?
Yeah, I thought it did. Anyway, so yeah, I will look up at the hawk, and you see more mutter an incantation under her breath as her eyes glow a little bit more golden, and she speaks with animals.
More, you speak your incantations, which, of course, because you're ritually casting it, takes 10 full minutes. So the hawk is just sitting there, eerily still, staring at the group of you as you wait. And so in this 10-minute time of more gathering the everflow within her, feeling the Zyathus go through her body as she touches the powers that made the world and reality itself, what's everyone else doing while you wait for her to get this magic juice going?
Nevitz, I think, unless there's an immediate threat, we would take a look at this package while that's happening.
Yep. I'm making bird noises still.
Please do.
Nevitz wants to ask after the fact, is Jericho actually saying anything, or is it just gibberish more? But that's for a later time.
Yes.
Are these hawks generally attached to a hunter as the only, or do they live in the wild, or are they?
Oh yeah.
So they do live in the wild, but they are quite prized as a regal hunting bird. So as a bird of prey, if someone was an exceptionally fancy noble falconer, they might have one of these domesticated, but you'd normally see some sign of a ring or a tag that would label it as such that you don't see present on this one.
And would we know? Would there be anything unusual to us seeing one in the wild at this time of year?
That's a great question. You can answer with a nature check.
6.
6. So it is the most bird-looking bird you have ever seen, Luthander. This is an incredibly bird-like bird up in the tree.
Adowole is drawing in the snow and dirt with his great sword and just doodling. He doodles a picture of the bird. Doesn't look very good, but...
Nevitz places the package on the ground between himself and Jericho and Luthander. It looks like it's only tied with ropes.
It's a really tight corded string, so it's been knotted expertly. You can tell that whoever tied this package together knows their way around knots, as if they have lived a life on the sea, perhaps. but it's very tight, and the knotting is intricate, and it's hard to say with a casual look if there's some sort of pattern or signifier there. Someone would know if you've disturbed the knots.
I like knots. Can I look at the knots?
Nevitz pulls Adowole and Jericho and Luthander down while Moore is concentrating on her ritual spell and just says, I want all of us to look at this knot exactly. And then I think, Luthander, you have the most deft hands. If someone is to unknot it without breaking the string, I think it would be you. And we will all help you put it back in the exact same way that it was knotted before. I don't know what that is, Nate. I don't know if that's a perception or an intelligence or a wisdom for us to see exactly what the knot is. I suspect it'd be a sleight of hand or something for Luthander to do it. So,
before that, can I do an investigation? That's one of my.
Yes, indeed.
Is that more of your? Yeah.
That is something that is leveraging your intelligence to see if there's a puzzle involved here.
Okay. So we roll investigation check. 18.
He was due.
And so it does appear that whoever tied this left the knots in something that looks like a code. That the knots are conspicuously spaced in a certain order and sequence. That if the string was just cut and retied, would be exceptionally difficult to replicate.
Okay. It's going to be hard for us to reopen, is the short version of that. Or open and reclose.
But it's not impossible. But as Luthander is examining this package there, with the snow falling around you through these dead and quiet winter woods, Moore feels the everflow fill her ribs as your mind subtly clicks into place, and you can now hear what the animals around you are saying. And the bird, the red-crowned hawk atop the pine, looks down at you with its beady red eyes and repeats,
I speak back to it in hawk. Excuse me?
And you see the bird tilt its head with almost like a little click as its eyes stare at you, the red glistening in the midday sun as it calls out again.
Do I hear any other chattering from any of the animals around me?
Yep, you can hear nearby there are some squirrels who are busily trying to discuss where best to hide their winter stash. You hear some songbirds looking to find ways to nestle down for the winter. There's a particularly obstreperous fox who's digging around for a family of mice underneath a rooted tree as the mice are quickly trying to come up with a scheme to dig their way out the backside. All of nature is a chatter around you, but the hawk is still indecipherable.
More. What does it say?
Moore's gonna try to discreetly take out her dagger and throw it at the bird, but blunt edge, so it doesn't stab it, but just knock it out of the tree.
All right, go make the roll. Throw dagger.
Okay. Ooh, an 8.
So you flick the dagger up, and as it flies past, you see that the spinning of the blade arc through the air. The flash against the metal in the sunlight, and the bird lets out a almost like indignant as it flaps to move away. And as it does, you happen to see what looks like a mechanical joint holding its wings to its body as the bird picks up and makes a swooping arc around you with one last before flying off to the east.
Seeing Moore throw a dagger and miss, Nevitz would love to try to get off one shot with a firebolt.
Okay, please do.
Go, adding 6 to this. 14 on the die, 20 to hit.
20 to hit? Okay, so roll damage.
1d10 fire. Got you. 4 points.
The fire arcs from Nevitz's fingertips, hitting the bird as it makes its flight away from you, and you hear it sizzle a bit. It doesn't let out a cry of pain like an animal would. It doesn't seem to otherwise notice the attack, but you do see as it flaps off this ball of melted wax and a small clockwork gear droop out of it from where the fire touched and land with a splot in the cold dirt nearby.
A spy?
We're being watched.
I'm quite the specimen to look at.
And so modest.
I think Nevitz would look to Luthander. Do you think you can actually untie this and retie it? Or is it a risk not worth taking?
Is that something as part of the investigation role, Nate, that I could judge the relative difficulty of retying?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you can tell from your investigation that getting this code exactly right would be very hard. Getting it a rough approximation of it that wouldn't hold up to close scrutiny is doable, but if you wanted to perfectly replicate this with no sense of error or deception, it's going to be tough because you're not quite sure what the code specifically is.
I'd say to Nevis, it's going to be really hard to get right. If there's another way for us to work out what it is, I think we should.
Luthander, can you point to that part of the rope that does not include the code? I have the ability to mend the rope, so we can cut it on a non-coded portion, and I can re-mend it back to where it was. If there's any spaces in the code, if that makes sense.
Moore's gonna look at this package that this is the first time she's seen this, and she's gonna look to these two plotters and I'm sorry. What are we doing?
This is really your bag, Luthander. Go ahead and tell her how we got into this situation.
So,
As you lean against your staff.
as I lean on I am leaning on my staff. That is absolutely true. Thank you for the reminder. As I lean casually on my staff, I say, so I was keeping watch, and somehow a blue mermaid pirate lady snuck up without me seeing her and threw this package at me and said, if we keep it safe, don't open it and don't look at it. Well, don't open it. Same thing. We get a reward. It's going to be picked up tomorrow.
And you're choosing to not listen to this mysterious mermaid pirate lady in favor of opening it and going against her wishes and,
Yeah, exactly.
when you
Good
could
plan.
just...
It's a good plan, right?
Jericho's like squatting down next to the package and studying it intently, looking at the knots and such, trying to memorize them. Should I roll something for that?
Please do, yeah, roll an investigation.
Okay.
So, is there a spot that I could point for, Nevit's benefit that there is no apparent code?
Yep, there's a gap in the knots.
Okay, good.
14.
14, so Jericho can definitely tell that whoever did this did it very deliberately, precisely, and it's far from the first time they've done this. Is something practiced that they've done specifically to notify them of tampering.
And can we? Is there someone in the group that can check for any magic in the rope?
I could, but that would mean I would condone this. And I think an easy payout trumps whatever's in this box, because the famous saying, curiosity, can anyone finish it? Curiosity killed the
Hanatas.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Makes us money.
That said, as the old adage says, trust a townie, get stabbed in the back. So I just don't want us to be the fall guy for some crime. If we get paid, we get paid, and it's fine.
I mean,
We don't have to...
technically speaking, Nevitz, would a pirate be considered a townie?
Thank you, son. Finally some sense. And this group.
Sense? I don't know what that means. But on the assumption that a pirate can be a townie, the pirate would have to be a legal pirate employed by the government.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, I do not believe this vagrant is. Oops, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
No, Adowole,
Words came out.
I am both frustrated and very happy that you continue to read my books. So this is good.
And you have a 13 intelligence, so you only play so dumb.
More, I'm willing to hear you out. I do believe we put ourselves at an unknown level of risk by not knowing what deal we're carrying out. And I just don't want a bunch of Hanatas to be the fall for some pirate scheme.
Okay.
Jericho's over by the gear that's on the ground covered in wax. She's looking at that, taking a look-see.
Ooh, make an Arcana check.
Ooh, okay. That's a nat 20!
Whoa!
First.
Let's go.
Yeah, so it looks like whoever built this thing built it very carefully to be a near exact, indistinguishable copy of a natural creature, and yet it's still a completely artificial construct. That this thing has no mechanical means of propulsion. It is entirely a thing of magic that's been crafted quite deliberately by someone of fairly significant sorceress skill.
Do I know anybody around here that's a sorcerer?
So there's plenty of people within the troupe who show some magical talent, but no one with this level of sophistication, especially to build something that is a construct that can mimic a living creature, is far beyond anything the Blue Veil troupe has seen in an age.
I vote we ignore the bird. It was fascinating to look at, but I want to look at the well.
Okay.
I'm pocketing that gear.
Okay. So slide it in one of your little pouches in your costume.
I'm going to interpret Ade's vote as that he does not want to look at the package. I, for one, do want to look at the package. I think Luthander is with me. I do believe we should allow for the group to decide. I feel you are against it more.
Adowole will pull out his greatsword, twirl it, and stab it into the ground pretty aggressively, might I add. No matter what's in this package, I will be the meat shield, per se, as I am called sometimes, to protect all of you from any kind of danger that comes our way because of it.
Told you, Ade, we are not going to give you the nickname Meat Shield no matter how many times you push this on us.
So out of curiosity, how invested is Jericho right now in the back and forth debate?
As the tie-breaking vote.
I want to know specifically how much is Jericho paying attention to the squabble of the other four Zatis?
I don't think she is. I think she's just making animal noises.
Great. Roll a perception check.
Oh, okay. And that is 13. I think it's 14. 15. 15.
So Jericho, having not really focused on the debate between Adowole, Moore, Nevitz, and Luthander, you're the one who spots going through some of the remaining bramble and underbrush, a figure that seems to be darting towards the direction of the old well.
I'll look towards everybody and be like, well, pointing at the person over there to kind of be like, hey.
Adowole will put his greatsword back on his back or on his hip. Is Adowole big enough to have a greatsword on his hip without it dragging profusely on the ground?
I'll play your game. Is Adowole big enough to have a greatsword on his hip?
I don't know. May I?
You know what? We'll say that this greatsword is a normal greatsword size. This is pretty much probably about a little bit longer than a longsword for Adowole. So yes, it is.
I think based on Jericho's warning, though, I think Nevitz would look to Ade and say, pick up the package, and then look to Luthander and say, we need to sprint ahead. And he wants to beeline in that direction at the front of the party with everyone else following in our former walking order.
Adowole will put the package thing in his bag, put it over his shoulder, or however he carries it. Preferably not a school backpack, but a satchel nonetheless. And can I run ahead, Nevitz?
Oh, we've already. You spent 2 minutes putting that thing in a bag, as far as I can tell. So
we're off. As stealthy as possible. We're trying to catch this person.
Yes. So Nevitz asked you to secure it while he and Luthander ran ahead, and then he expects the rest of the party to follow behind.
I'm asking about Jericho and Moore.
I would have stayed with you. I'm trying to just drag this out, so.
Yeah, you're not going to like what I'm about to do.
Just avoiding people.
As soon as the party like heads in that direction, I'm going to start going that way. But like, I'm waiting for everybody to go first. Like they need to. I'm slinking behind them.
Assuming we're in a rush, Adowole is normally one to ask permission to do things against other people's wills. How fast can he run carrying 2 people?
Probably not very fast.
Shoot. Darn.
Snapdragons.
Okay. Shoot. He's gonna look at Moore and Jericho and say, you two go ahead. I'll catch up. I'll give you a head start.
So with that, it sounds like that Nevitz and Luthander are the first ones to get to the end of the trail then.
Yeah.
So you see that where this trail suddenly ends is in the center of this small meadow that's been overrun with moss and lichen and some low-lying shrub. You see that looks like there was some large stone foundation here at one time, replete with this partially fallen-in chimney, and that signifies there was a homestead here at some point in the fairly distant past. And there's creepers and vines that have come over the structure that are still, they're vivid green, with everything else dead around it. And you see near the foundation the round stone remains of this lichen-covered well. And sitting at the edge of the well, kicking her feet in the air,
Don't
Vezi.
be. Damn it.
Smiling cheerfully at you as she has a little paper bag of roasted humber nuts from the treats wagon that she's eating one by one.
Vezi did not see the map, right? Like
She totally saw the map. She was the one who asked Adowole if it was a treasure map.
And Adowole specifically told her, you cannot go to the well.
Vezi, did you see anyone besides us on your approach?
She shakes her head for a moment and then pauses, thinks as she chews on another salted humber nut. Then she slowly nods.
Who else did you see, Vezi?
Oh, well, so it's kind of hard to explain because Mother Sylvenza's been trying to teach me how to use it, but I didn't see them, but I saw some people in the well. Choose another humber nut from the bag.
You saw them through your sight?
Her eyes brighten as she nods eagerly. Oh, yep, that's exactly how I saw them. As the rest of the crew slowly catches up to where Luthander and Nevitz are.
Nevitz kind of opens his body so that Vezi is answering the entire group. What was their disposition? Were they undead, frightened, angry, mournful?
Oh, the man down there is very frightened.
But a living man you saw.
For now. He's gonna die, though.
Can I insight check to see if something seems off here? And
Sure
I wanna...
can. Insight away.
Vezi attacks.
11.
You sense no subterfuge from Vezi.
Vezi, stand away from the well while we invest.
She gets up with a little sad sigh. Okay. I know Adowole said I'm not supposed to go in the well, but I can't wait for you to come out.
And is the well, the image we've got of the well looks like it's filled in.
It's partially collapsed in, but it looks like at least somebody has been going in and out of it for a little bit. There's one side of it where the lichen shows signs of handprints and footprints.
I'm gonna peek my head over the edge of the well and make a bird sound. Scream!
And as that sound echoes down through the well, you hear it just going, and then after about a moment, you hear a faint echo coming back. God's help me. That's where we'll end for the week. So we'll pick up there next time to see if the Zatis are able to help someone outside of their own.
I vote to leave them.
Second.
I mean, we just found out it's not Zati. We walk away.
Not Taz, yeah. Not our problem.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Visions Veiled and Violent, a D&D actual play of Gooey Cube's darkest dream adventure from the Red Rising campaign. All of the artwork, names, locations, and characters from the dark world of Zayathe are the sole property of Gooey Cube and used with permission. Check out all their maps, adventures, and other original content at gooeycube.com. A special thank you to Tabletop Audio for providing the fantastic music that accompanied this episode. As ever, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, rate, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. And if you really enjoyed what you heard, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at the $3 tier. Your support keeps the torches lit and the dice rolling, ensuring that our adventures continue to unfold. And remember, you don't know the burdens others have carried to arrive at your gaming table, so be kind. Safe travels until next week when we return to Visions Veiled and Violent.